What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 42 of the Charge to the Top here with Hereford FC, and today it's a live double header against both Peterborough, and of course following that we're going to be taking on Chesterfield. If you missed yesterday's episode, it was against a team right up there in the table, Newport County. It's the reason we're on this screen, so you can't kind of screen look and find the result. If you missed it, go check it out. It was quite a good game. Of course, no game since that last match, but there has been a little bit going on off the pitch. Of course, I didn't really talk about it after the game, but James Maddison twisted his knee. And, well, he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Unfortunately, he's going to be missing both of the matches that are going to be coming up today for you guys. Worth noting that with these two games, I'm going to be cutting out the kind of period in between. It's a transfer window. I'm trying to get a few deals done. I'm also sifting through a lot of players. And, well, I talk about deals done, obviously. I kind of left off last episode saying, I need fullbacks. I need to sort that position out. I have to ensure that we have some players for that. And, well, It's not been a successful hunt so far. If we just look at players on the ins, there's loads of players who I've been approaching to sign and been unable to sign. It's been a bit of a shame, really. You'll notice a few players who I am now trying to sign on freeze. These are actually, for most of these, they're Australian players. So, for example, we have Rideout here, who's a 19-year-old goalkeeper, who I really like the look of. But you might be sat there thinking, Jack, you already have 2 Australians you signed at the start of the year, Durand and Nicholas, who just can't play. Why would you want to add another? I'll tell you why I want to add another. If we just look at the transfer dealings on the out, Spartak Moscow, £1.9 million they've offered for Paul Durand, a player who doesn't have a work permit, can't play. And yeah, we got a £1.9 million bid from the Russian kind of Premier League side. I'm not going to reject that. The board actually interfered and said, you're not rejecting that. He's going for that price. So it's a pretty good offer. As you can see here, there is a lot of teams, if we just look at Durand, interested in him. We had Bursaspor, I think Galatasaray were looking at him as well. Spartak Moscow, you got Stade de Rennes, Olympiakos. There's some pretty big teams interested. And, well, for a player who we signed on a free at the start of the year, hasn't obviously made any appearances, I quite like the prospect of £1.9 million. Worth noting, if we just look here at our club isn't worth more than £1.9 million. Our estimated value is £1.9 million on its own. So if we could get a little bit more money, and that would, of course, be fantastic. In terms of our overall balance, it's quite healthy. Obviously, we had the training facilities, which were recently finished. Youth facilities, I'm going to be improving again, which is always good. And they're actually going to be done in October time. If we just look here, there is actually an inbox item here about the fact it's expected to cost in the region of £650,000, but I want to keep improving the training facilities. I want to keep improving the youth recruitment. I want to see us try and develop some players here at Hereford if we can, and you can see here that Spartak Moscow bid came in, and it was dealt with. I didn't even get a chance to kind of accept or reject this offer. Obviously, there is another Australian player in our ranks, and that is Andrew Nicholas. He has some interest in him. You can see at the moment I'm offering him out for £2 million. There's a fair few teams interested in him. A few teams have said they might bid on him if the asking price was lower and if his wages were lower. But it's still, I guess, pretty good to just get these offers for these players. You can see here, obviously, no clubs consider a deal for Andrew Nicholas viable. You've got teams like St Johnstone in Scotland, Lincoln Dagenham, who, they need to free up some wages or free up some transfer fees. So I feel like that's a deal that could happen. And obviously, the Durand deal is a very, very good one. That I'm delighted. £1.9 million is more than I anticipated, and obviously you might be able to work out that the reason I'm now trying to sign a player like Rideout, and I may well look to sign a few more Australians, is because I'm hoping we can make some money off them. Because if we can make, I don't know, £3 million off Nicholas and Durand, I will be a very happy bunny. Rideout, of course, he actually had a little bit of a trial at the club earlier on in the year. I decided I didn't want to sell him for the lack of the work permit. There might be a few people saying, Jack, you should hold on to these players so they get work permits and then they can play for you. And whilst that was kind of my initial kind of line of thinking, the issue I've got is Durand hasn't been called up to the under-21s in such a long time. He just hasn't made any appearances there, and for him to stand any chance of getting a work permit, he needs to somehow break into the Australian national first team, and I don't think that's going to happen if he's not playing regular first team football for a League 2 side. Obviously, moved to the Russian Premier League, he may well get a fantastic little deal done there, and maybe £1.9 million will be, I guess, not a great amount of money. But I think for the player that we've got here, a player we can't play, who has developed a little bit but doesn't really look like he's ever going to get a work permit, the money's very good. He's only got a year and a half left on his contract as well, so I'm delighted. Obviously, we have got the first of 2 games today. It's against Peterborough at home. That defeat against Newport County has left us in a somewhat precarious position. You can see we're currently down in 5th. It's the lowest that we've been in quite some time in terms of the actual league positions themselves. Fifth place, obviously, 48 points. It's still very close. A win here against Peterborough could see us leapfrog them, or it would see us leapfrog them and could potentially see us go third in the league. Of course, they're on the same amount of points as us now. You can see, though, the league itself, it's incredibly tight. All the way from Oldham, who, of course, not that long ago, we annihilated 3-0, up to Newport County, who, of course, we lost to last time out. There's 5 points separating these sides. It's going to be a real dogfight, you'd imagine, with, 19 games left of the season to see who's going to get that spot. But anyway, let's get into today's game. In terms of our team, obviously, it's a massive problem, really, because Shamanga's still injured with his lower back stress fracture, so he's going to be missing the 2 games today. And additionally, James Maddison with his twisted knee, also going to be missing both games today in this episode. Obviously, the fullback position was a little bit of a weakness before I talked about the fact I want to improve it. It's a little bit improved, I guess, over the previous match that we had. Chris Owens back from his virus, able to play at the left-back position. Always good to see the 22-year-old obviously fit and raring to go there. In terms of how we actually line up for today's game, of course, we go with Griffiths in goal. Good little goalkeeper there. Obviously, Owens and Wiseman right back and full back respectively. Down the centre, we go with Harry Lennon. Alongside him, we of course go with the one, the only, it's Mizag. I really like these two guys. I feel like it's one of our strongest positions, actually, centre-back, in terms of our first team, certainly. Anyway, moving up into the centre-mid positions, Jake Hesketh is going to be playing the deep-line playmaker role for us. Very good player in this role, you can see here, very, very well suited to it. A shame his balance and positioning aren't better, but he can do a job for us. Anyway, in the centre-mid position, we're going to go with Joe Edwards today. A very good player, very good kind of supportive centre-mid. You can see really well suited to this role. Obviously, consistent performer and very good in big matches. That's something that's actually become a common trend across our team. Out on the right, we go with Mayo Waters, the young Irishman. Out on the left-hand side, we go with James Winters, a player who I've tried to sign. I kind of talked about that last episode. Unfortunately, Chelsea told me we don't want to sell him. I've tried to extend his loan. He doesn't want to renew it. He's getting a little bit too big for his boots, but I'm going to give him a chance here out on that left-hand side, cutting in on his right foot. At centre attacking mid, we actually go with Romano, a player who's frequently played at centre mid for us this year. And, well, today he's going to be playing the attacking centre mid role, a role that, looking at him here, he shouldn't have any problems playing. Hopefully he can give a better performance there than perhaps he's given kind of in a slightly deeper role earlier on this season. Anyway, the last of our players in our starting 11, it's Basala Sambu. I really like this guy. Great forward, obviously explosive pace, lots of room to improve, I think. And yeah, could be a very, very good player for us in the future. And he's a very good player for us now, in all fairness. Anyway, on the bench, we've got John Johnson, Rafael Branco, Danny Smith, the youngster. Not played as much first-team football as you might have expected this year, the 20-year-old. But a very, very good player, going to be on the bench maybe as an option today. Also got James Murphy, Harry Anderson, Ricky Holmes, and Stephen Payne making up our bench. So it's not a bad team. Minor tactical change, I guess, just to let you guys know of. We are playing with our fullbacks on defend. I want to just try this out. You know, play our centre kind of deep line playmaker on the support duty instead. That kind of helps with Hesketh because he's not really the best kind of deep line playmaker when it comes to his defensive capabilities. I mentioned that positioning being a flaw in his game before. And kind of playing the support duty, he looks like he could be very good there. And on the flip side, players like Chris Owens and Wiseman, they're kind of good players, but one thing that we have experience with these guys is they push very high up the field and then very often they're kind of caught out of position, particularly Wiseman. He's not got the pace to get up and down the pitch, and so playing a slightly more defensive role I think is going to better suit his game today. So anyway, let's submit our team. It's a big game for us. We're taking on Peterborough. Last time we met them, it was our second live commentary of the season and it finished 2-2. I'm hoping that we can give an equally good performance today. So hopefully we can kick off this episode, of course, with a fantastic little result and really crack on. In terms of, obviously, if we do get the Duran sale to go through, I don't know why it would collapse, to be honest, against Spartak, but obviously I don't want to count my chickens before they've hatched. But that £1.9 million, we'd probably get about half of it for transfers. I think I'd struggle to spend it all. Obviously, with the investment that we've got going into the training facilities at £600,000, that's a good sign for our youth facilities. I feel like our training facilities as a whole for the senior team could maybe do with improvement. And, well, maybe even the stadium expansion might be an option, or a brand new stadium if we can amass a little bit more money off the likes of Nichols, because kind of if you look at our team, we're selling out our stadium very frequently now, and it is kind of, I guess, in our interest to look to either expand or build a new stadium, and that could be kind of a wise investment, I guess, long term, particularly if there isn't a whole host of transfer options to sign up. But anyway, let's see what we can do here. It's actually a corner cleared away by Peterborough. 30 minutes gone. The game's been pretty tight. We've dominated possession, but we're yet to have a shot on target. And, well, we've got to be good defensively here. As Jake Hesketh wins the ball very, very nicely. And now we look to try and, well, make something happen. An ambitious ball to Sambu, though, doesn't come off. And, well, with our two centre mids on the support duty, I am a little bit wary about there being perhaps a pocket of space behind our midfield to be exploited. So we've got to keep an eye on that as the cross is deflected away. A degree of fortune, I guess, that didn't fall to one of the Peterborough players there. Great opportunity. Ball still not dealt with, and Taylor, this time, does actually bury it. Gets on the end of it. It's Matty Taylor's 17th goal of the season. That is not a bad total, is it, by any means? The ball whipped in. Perhaps the defender should have done a little bit better. I'm not sure if it was Mizag or Harry Lennon kind of marking him tightly, but either way, a little bit disappointing he was able to get the shot away. Granted, was a first-time finish, always difficult for the defenders to get there. And, well, Peterborough, the team away from home, they take a lead, and despite a lack of possession, they don't look overly fussed by that. Allen laid it out wide. Harriman... I think it's Harriman, or Hammond, rather, whips it in, and Taylor gets the finish there. And unfortunately for us, just too much space afforded to Taylor, and with, well, one of the first real kind of opportunities of this game, Peterborough, they get their noses in front, and now we really need to step things up. 10 minutes left to this half. Can we make something happen? Maybe we have a set piece here. Jake Hesketh whips it in. Taylor deals with it. Ball knocked away now. Peterborough looking to hit us on the counter. This was something that I was hoping we weren't going to be a victim of, particularly playing with our fullbacks on defend, but it's not worked out for us. They've completely hit us on the break. We've been so slow there, and it's Lee Novak actually with the finish, and I think off the back of that, we've got to make some changes. I'm going to change our defensive line to not be sit deeper, because I feel like that is probably inviting that little bit of space between our centre-backs and our centre midfielders. Obviously, the centre-backs drop deeper. There's more space to exploit. So we're going to close that down. I'm also going to switch our full-backs back on support. It feels like the experiment to put them on the defend duty hasn't exactly worked out for us here. I'm going to tell the players I'm really not happy with that performance. Sam Boobin particularly poor. Stephen Payne, get on the pitch. Show us what you can do. In truth, the entire team's been very poor. So it's a little bit unfair, I guess, to single Sambu out. But we'll just go with that one change for now. Hopefully we can have a better second half performance here. That's got to be kind of our aspirations, I guess. This game, though, it's been disappointing so far. Really, since we conceded the first goal, we're yet to have a shot at all in this game, which is, I guess, somewhat concerning, you could say. This is a game which you'd really expect us to be going strong in, and we're struggling. Although we do have a set piece here, and Mizag is actually fouled by Tom Field, and now we have a chance from the spot, maybe, just maybe, to try and make something happen. Who is going to be taking it? I'm not actually sure. It's going to be Stephen Payne. He's come on off the bench. Can he have the immediate impact? Number 18, can he slot it away straight down the middle? It's 2-1. It's our first shot on target. We're not going to complain one little bit. Hopefully now with our noses up, we can, get an improved performance. Stephen Payne, he had the little animation bug there. He was sat down before he took that. He did the trick where you sit down in an invisible chair. The go-to magician trick. If you missed it, go check it out. It was beautiful. By Stephen Payne there, psyching out the goalkeeper, doing a magic trick, sitting in thin air. And, well, I think it's fair to say the keeper, he was psyched out. I am going to make some changes here. Romano, not had the greatest of games by any means. Danny Smith, the youngster, get on the pitch. It's a bit of a throwback, isn't it, really, having Danny Smith with Stephen Payne kind of playing above him in the kind of midfield. It's a sight that's not been seen much since we joined the Football League, but it's a sight that's going to be seen today as Dennis Wiseman decides Scott Wiseman decides he doesn't like life and he's going to get a red card. I want to see this. I mean, I'll say it and I'll say it again. The fullback position, I need to improve it. I think this is a good case in point for it again. What did he actually do here? That's what I'm wondering. Right, Novak has the... Let's just slow it right down. Let's try and analyse. So Novak has the ball. He passes it... When does he pass it? I mean, he doesn't pass it. He just gets... It's a scissor tackle from behind. Scotty Wiseman, what are you thinking? For the people thinking, why did you say Dennis Wiseman? It's not because I was thinking of Dennis Wiseman. It's actually because whenever I see Scott Wiseman, I think of Dennis Wideman, the former... I don't know if he's still at the Calgary Flames. He's an ice hockey player in the NHL. But for some reason, I just think of him whenever I see Scott Wiseman. I don't know why that's wired up in my brain like that. It's not Dennis Wiseman, it's Dennis Wideman that I think of when I see Wiseman. Anyway, it's Scott. He's off the pitch. He's kind of screwed me here, hasn't he? Let's be completely transparent. It's not exactly what I was hoping we were going to have to deal with. Rafael Branco, I guess, fortunately, can play right back. Debatably, I could start playing him there now. We do need to keep pushing on in this game because, well, we need a goal still. Despite the fact we're a goal down here, we do actually need to make something happen. It is in our interest. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to look for us, really, to just play slightly higher, more direct passing, higher tempo. And let's try and hit them on the break. I don't see them committing many men forward. I guess that's kind of my general problem here. I'm a little bit pessimistic about how many opportunities we're going to get. I might play... there's a debate to say keep Winters on the pitch, isn't there? There's a debate to say that we should keep Winters on the pitch. I wish there was an easy way just to undo the sub. Like, for example, I've taken off Winters for Mayor Waters. It'd be so nice if there was just a little shortcut. You know what? I'm going to keep Mayor Waters on. And the reason I'm going to keep him on is because he's a youngster. He's a new man on the block. It's in the script for him to score, and I believe it. And obviously, if you're one of those kind of Football Manager conspiracy theorists, you'll be there going, there's scripting in the game, so he's going to score now. If he scores now, it's going to look like that. I'll hold my hands up and admit it. Apparently, Winters now hasn't been taken off the pitch, so sorry, Mayor Waters. My laziness has been excused, and we can make that change now. A weird issue. You'd think they could have sorted that now in Football Manager, wouldn't you, when you kind of make loads of tactical changes before the tactical panel is brought up itself after a red card. Maybe one day that won't happen. I feel like it's just instinct when you see a player get sent off to instantly open the tactical panel and start trying to make changes. But yeah, the game insists that it does it for you on a red card. Unfortunately, 5 minutes left in this game. We've probably got to go on overload. We probably need a goal. I mean, that's stating the obvious there, Jack. But we probably need to kind of create something now, is what I'm trying to say. Let's move Hesketh into attacking midfield as well. It's not a particularly elegant solution, this, but it's the solution we're going to go with. Overload, pump it down the middle. Edwards, just no nonsense, mate. Just hoofball it. If it comes to you, just route one, get it up the pitch. Fullbacks, just look for the overlap just in case. If the three centre attacking mids can make something work, that would be lovely. But it's a bit of a last-minute roll of the dice, isn't it? 5 minutes left in this game. It's a little bit formation man-esque, isn't it, playing the three centre attacking mids. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to work for us, and there's going to be a very late goal. Can it happen? I believe it maybe can, he says, as the ball is instantly given away. Can Branco run inside to get that? No, he didn't want it. We're closing down a lot here. Is the keeper going to win that race? He's not. Novak misses the open goal. He probably should have scored there. Unfortunately for us, Griffiths, not having the greatest of games, was he there? And, well, it's going to finish here 2-1. The red card, I mean, we were 2-1 down when the red card happened, so I can't really use that as an excuse. But in truth, when you're only shot on target, it's a penalty shootout. Or, sorry, not even a shootout, a penalty. There's no real excuses. And unfortunately, with that defeat coming again, we slip further down the table, now down to 6th. And, well, now, as you can see here, how many points? 7 points off Newport County, who are top, which is, I think it's fair to say, not exactly ideal. Of course, once we play this Chesterfield game, and actually I don't think Oldham is that far away in terms of fixtures to look forward to, we are going to have a nice, easier run into the end of the season. Although, if you've ever played Football Manager, and, well, we've seen it this season already, I guess, in our own case, sometimes when you play the lower league teams, there's a degree of complacency. Your systems don't work because they're a lot more attacking. So, although we should theoretically have easier games, it never really works out that way. Even the way Rideout has now agreed to sign with us, that is a good little signing to get done there. In terms of, if we just look here at our upcoming fixtures, yeah, Oldham not too far away. Of course, Chesterfield still to come this episode. Let's get into that game. Hopefully we can have a better performance. Maybe I can try and sort out the fullback position. I've got another week to try and make something happen. I'll be honest, I've been looking for fullbacks. There's not a whole lot of choice when it comes to fullbacks, like who are actually realistic to sign, unfortunately, and actually offer us an improvement. But well, with Scott Wiseman sending off, maybe the right back position needs to become a position of priority. And well, I'll talk to you guys very shortly. Maybe we'll have sorted something out, probably not. But either way, Chesterfield await, and we need a much improved performance. Okay, guys, so welcome back, and you join me here against Chesterfield as I really ponder what is a a risk, I think, is the best way of putting it. I'm going to change a few things, I think, for today's game. There's a few players who just haven't been pulling their weight. I'm looking at the likes of Romano, Hesketh, Sambu's been pretty poor as of late. So we have a few changes. Rafael Branco, an enforced change, of course, with Wiseman's suspension. He's going to be playing right back for us, the Brazilian. A very good player. Perhaps not the greatest right back in the world, but he's a decent, versatile fullback. And, well, I guess more naturally a centre-back who is very good in the air, so I think he can do a job for us today. In terms of the midfield, I'm actually going to make one big change, and that is to bring James Murphy in to play deep line playmaker on defend. It's worth noting that I am reverting back to our normal system. The fullbacks on defend are a thing of the past. They've gone. Anyway, looking slightly higher up the pitch, 3 more changes to talk about. Ricky Holmes is going to come in on the left-hand side, of course. The 33-year-old not played so much football recently, but his form in his last 5 games that he has featured for us in has been very, very impressive, and I'm hoping that today he can give another good performance. At the central attacking mid position, we're going to go with Danny Smith, the youngster. He struggled in his last 5 games for the club, but he's been out the first team for a little while, so he's going to come back today. Hopefully he can give us a good performance. And the goal scorer from that last match that we just played, Stephen Payne, going to start ahead of Sambu. The only other option I really had was Ote. And I guess there is a temptation to play Ote, but at the same time, if we just look at him and just compare him, I guess, just to Sambu for kind of the sakes of comparison, you can kind of see just we're beyond the stage of Ote being really ever relevant in the first team. So Sambu gets the nod. Hopefully he can give a good performance. Oh, sorry, Sambu doesn't get the nod. Payne gets the nod. Sambu goes onto the bench. So yeah, a few changes there, 5 changes. It's a bit of a mix-up, a few fresh legs perhaps coming into the side, and I'm hoping they can give a much improved performance today. Of course, I did mention the Duran sale before. That has happened. It's gone. Andrew Nicholas, still no bid to him, but the Duran deal is done, and it's been done for a decent little sum of money. If we look here, he's actually ended up going to Besiktas. So a week ago, the only offer we had for him was a £1.9 million bid from Spartak. And that was accepted by my board. I had no say in it. Besiktas have come in with a slightly different offer, which the board also accepted and I couldn't do anything about. But basically, they've signed in for £1.1 million as an initial fee. £600,000 of that is just straight out. The other £500,000 we're receiving over a period of time. We also have a few other clauses, so we get £55,000 for the next 10 league appearances he makes. That's at each game. If he makes 1 international appearance, we get £275,000. After 10 league appearances for Besiktas, we get £275,000. We have a friendly. We obviously have those monthly instalments I already mentioned on top of the £300,000, or sorry, £600,000 we got up front. And we also have a sell-on fee, which is worth noting, of 40% of the profit. Now, technically, the game sees it as him being signed for £1.1 million. So there might be a nice little bit of money, down the line that we get in terms of the sell-on for Paul Durand. A 40% sell-on fee. I'm actually quite happy with that. I think the board have done okay, obviously. £1.9 million would have been better to have up front, but at the same time, £1.1 million, it goes straight into the bank. You can see our transfer budget, very, very healthy for a team in our division. And there aren't a whole lot of players that I'm kind of desperate to sign, so I might, sit on that for a little bit longer yet. In terms of transfers on the ends, I did look at, a new goalkeeper. Henry Edge may be an option. Unfortunately, not interested in talking with us just yet, the 19-year-old, so that deal's on hold. The goalkeeper position and area I would like to improve. The next player we have, Angus Gunn, a player I'm looking at, a player who many of you may well be familiar with. He's a very, very good goalkeeper, 25 years old, fairly determined. You can see here he's a very good goalkeeper, to be honest. I put in a very generous bid of £725,000, which would be a club record fee. But this guy, he's just a massive step up from what we've got. If we just compare him real quick to Russell Griffiths, you can see he's just a goalkeeper on a completely different level for us, and certainly League One quality, if not Championship quality as well. So that might be a deal I do. The more I look at it, the more I'm perhaps a little bit kind of cautious, I guess, about the amount of money we would be spending there. The other player we've got coming in, potentially, Luke Neal. He has accepted a contract. It's just a case of would he want to do it for real. We did the negotiations. He's happy with them. 29 years old, a very nice fullback, professional personality, really good determination, consistent performer. You can see here, decent signing for most League Two sides, enjoys big matches. He's not the youngest player at 29, but he can play both fullback positions. I see him kind of more naturally, I guess, as a right back for us, and if we compare him to Scott Wiseman, in here, you can see he offers significant improvements. Maybe not necessarily technically, but in terms of his mentals and physicals, there are kind of significant differences between the ability of the players there, and it's perhaps better represented in the polygon in terms of you can see just the pace that he offers is going to be a massive factor, I think, for us. We've struggled with pace out wide, and that is something that Luke O'Neill really brings to the table. And, well, for £120,000, I feel like that would be a good little bit of business to get done. But anyway, let's get into today's game. We're taking on Chesterfield. They're a team who they've kind of slumped a little bit in the league, down to 4th now. They were top of the table for quite a long period of time. Gary Holt is now their manager. They were relegated just last year. You can see Gary Caldwell here was manager. He's actually gone to Inverness, Caledonian Thistle in the Scottish leagues. And Gary Holt, this is going to be his first ever game in charge. So I feel like we maybe have the edge on him based on the fact he's not going to be so familiar with his team. Of course, we're going to go with his 4-2-3-1 that I already mentioned. Hopefully we can have a better performance. You know, you look at the Newport County result, you look at the Portsmouth result, they've been poor. And, well, down in 6th place now, I'm a little bit worried. Stevenage, they're not far behind us. And the teams behind them, you know, there's a few teams like Plymouth who we have slipped up against already this year. Of course, it is worth noting perhaps that we have played against significantly kind of better teams in the division than a lot of the teams around us. You know, we have had a very tough run of fixtures to play, you know, the likes of Newport County, this game here against Chesterfield, and also the game against Peterborough. Like, they're very tough matches to deal with, and we've done not as well as I would have liked. At the same time, I feel like with the games we've got coming up, there's still time for us to make a recovery. We are away from home here, which I think is going to be a challenge for us. We're going to stick, however, with kind of my attacking philosophy. Obviously, 5 new players into the first team. A few of them lacking match fitness, but they've all got very good condition. They're all players who have featured a little bit this season. I'm hoping that today they can give a better performance. You know, a chance for a few of these players to perhaps shine. And while with Chesterfield, with a new manager, he's going to be desperate to kind of galvanise the squad and get a good result. But maybe his team won't be so familiar with his system, as we are going to have a chance here. Unfortunately, it's cleared away. And now Treblers running forward with the ball, smashes it. Griffiths in goal, lovely stop by him. The one-on-one probably should have been finished in the end by Chesterfield there. It was a really good opportunity. Harry Lennon dived in for a tackle and missed it. Left our kind of keeper completely exposed. The shot and the kind of overall finish just really lacked composure. And, well, we live to fight another day. Looking at the stats, we're not looking good in this game. 42% of possession. We've had one shot, wasn't even on target. And, well, I feel like we need to change something. The question is, what do I actually want to change? There's a few things we could do. And there's a change that I'm going to try, because this just isn't working for us at the moment. And the change I want to try is changing to something a bit like this. Kind of a 4-1-2-1 or a 4-3-3, I guess it is more kind of realistically. This is a formation that, if I'm honest, I've not played very frequently in recent Football Managers, but it's a system that I know a lot of people have success with. We're going to give it a roll of the dice here. I kind of like always having an attacking midfielder playing behind my striker. It's just kind of what I like in my team. But at the same time, with this game at 0-0 and with the players we've got on the pitch, it seems like a fairly logical system to try and change. I'm going to tell the players I'm not happy with that performance. It was a really poor first half. Ricky Holmes out on the left has had a poor game. I'm actually going to bring in James Winters and just give him the nod. Of course, this is almost the inverse of the change we made last game where we took Winters off for Ricky Holmes. But Winters, he has very good pace out on that left-hand side, cutting in on his right foot. I think it's a role he can do well for us. And, well, hopefully we can have a better performance in the second half here. A draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world, you'd have to say. Given how this match has played out so far, we'd be fortunate to get a draw. As, well, you can see here, there's going to be Chesterfield on the attack. Half an hour or so left in this game. We've been kind of backs to the wall for the entirety of this, but Edwards wins it there. Now can we look to counter? There's an option out on the right. There's also an option on the left. Winters is there. Cuts inside. Can he finish it on his right foot? The youngster goes narrowly wide of the poster. A good opportunity. We are still yet to hit the target in this match. But James Winters there with a little counter-attack, trying to make something happen. Unfortunately, couldn't quite make it work. Going to make a change here, actually. I'm going to just tell us to up the tempo a little bit, play a little bit more direct, not play quite so deep. And, well, with 20 minutes left of the game, it's still 0-0. It's still anyone's game. We've had a few more chances as this second half's developed. But it's not been the greatest of performances so far, really, by the entirety of our team and by, well, either team. I'm going to make our last 2 changes. I'm going to take off Mayo Waters. I'm also going to take off Stephen Payne, and we're going to bring on Harry Anderson to play out on the right-hand side and Basala Sambu. I'm looking forward to getting Shamanga back in the side because his goals have been such a massive miss for us. Of course, Sambu's kind of come in to be a kind of alternative to Shimanga, but Shimanga was still always going to be my first choice player. He was, prior to his injury, our top goal scorer in the league. The lower back stress fracture means he's only out for a few more weeks. When he's back, hopefully we can be firing on all cylinders, because it's been evident in the last few games. We just don't have the firepower to contend right now. That said, it's 0-0 here. There's 10 minutes left, although Chesterfield, with possession of the ball, you feel a little bit wary perhaps of what they might be able to do here, as they are crafting out a good opportunity. Murphy with a tackle, but it falls straight to them, and well, the shot probably should have hit the target there for Chesterfield. It's smashed wide of the mark. I'm going to tell the players that I'm not happy with that performance. I'm going to encourage them. We have, 6 minutes left in this game to really try and make something happen. As I said, a draw away from home here wouldn't be the worst result in the world. It's been a very, very tight game, a game of very few opportunities, and well, it's what we are going to have to settle for. It finishes 0-0. It ends a run of 2 defeats in a row, which is, I guess, okay. It's not a terrible result, kind of given how our form's been. It does see us now languish in 6th place. Chesterfield also slipping down the table. You can see here Stevenage, they did win. They closed the gap on us to 1 point, and well, Plymouth, Blackpool, Tranmere, they do not look too far off us now. Although that said, at the top of the table, it looks like Newport County lost, or drew. Where are they? They actually lost 2-0 against Blackpool. And also Peterborough won. How did Cheltenham do? Cheltenham have emerged from nowhere. They actually beat Tranmere 3-0. But yeah, the top of the table still close. We are still only 6 points away from Newport County. And when you consider some of the teams we've played, I'm hoping that now with the Dulwich Hamlet game, we can get a nice, comfortable win against a team who, granted, did beat us previously, but are bottom of the table, and really build up momentum from there to hopefully mount a charge at the automatic promotion spots. Because let's be real here, we're not that far off them. We've had 3 very tough games here. And the only way really is up. We can't get much worse than how we've played over our last few games. And with the likes of James Maddison and Shimanga out, it's been a tricky run of form. You can see just 1 win in our last 6 games, and 2 wins in our last 8. Simply put, not good enough. But with Dulwich Hamlet coming up, we then have Blackpool, Crawley, Carlisle. I think we'll be back next time for that game against Oldham. It's not in the all too distant future, coming in mid-February. And from there, well, we'll have to see where we lie. The league can change very rapidly, as we've already seen. We've dropped down from what was 3rd just a few games ago, and 2nd even, not that long ago, all the way down to 6th now. We've played some of these tough games. We played Chesterfield, we played Peterborough, we played Newport County. When do we play Cheltenham? That's a game perhaps worth checking out. I think we've already actually played Cheltenham twice. No, I've lied. We played them in April, so that could be a game to look forward to as well. So we'll have to see how we go. I still feel pretty confident that we can at least finish in the playoffs this year. If I can get 1 or 2 late transfer dealings done in the window, that would be absolutely amazing. Obviously, we do now have some money to try and make that happen, so that's worth keeping an eye on. And yeah, I think that's going to be all from me today. Guys, as always, if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.